GoPro. Morning. Everybody have a good first night so far? Yeah? Fantastic. Well, we've got a lot of information to cover, and everybody's going to be on time. We got to be able to figure out a lot of different things. Hello to all the people streaming from around the world. Say hi to everybody. Hey. Had a great little VIP experience last night. Got to see a lot of old friends. My gosh, it was like old home week hanging out with some very successful people from all over the world. It's so fun to see my friends doing well. And it's fun to have an opportunity because we don't often have an opportunity to just hang out, to just talk to each other, share ideas. So this morning I'm going to start this off. We have 3 other speakers this morning, but I'm going to start this off sharing an idea that I think will help you dramatically. Many of you came here looking for some exact things to do. Tell me what to say. Tell me where to go. Tell me what to wear. You want the how. Remember last night's video on the how? Tell me what to do and how to do it, right? Now, we're going to cover lots of how. We're going to go through all of the 7 skills of the network marketing professional. You're going to be hearing from lots of different people sharing different ideas on those same fundamentals. So you're going to get a solid dose of fundamental training over the course of this weekend. But we have to talk about the mindset as we start. We have to talk about the why as we start. And we live in a computerized world, right? So let's say you want to create a document. And you pull up your Word program on your computer or your iPad or whatever it is, and you type in pull this up for me, guys. You type in, and this is a typo. You type that into a document. Correct, typo, correct. Right? Now we have this document. And we're saying, well, that looks good. We push the print button. And out comes this document. Here it comes. We go, well, that's not right. So let's try it again. We go back and we push the print button again. Out comes another document. Erase. I have to erase that problem. Let me push the print button again. Sounds ridiculous, right? What are you going to keep getting? The same problem. And yet, we continue to repeat the same errors in judgment in our lives and continuing to say, if I do it long enough, eventually this typo will disappear. If I don't quit pressing print, I just keep pressing print. I'm going to keep pressing print no matter what, because they told me never to quit. What are you going to keep getting? Error. And so frustrating. They told me if I just kept doing it. No. They told you to do, learn from it, go back here, and correct that simple little error, and then press print. See, some of you have had errors in your thinking when it comes to what you should expect from your network marketing business. You've had errors in your process when it comes to inviting people. There's only one basic thing that I disagreed with last night. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Well, I'm not so sure. You could say the wrong thing to me. I'm the right person. If you have an error in your thinking, if you come at me like a shark, if you're just trying to get me, if I don't feel right about you, if you don't build any rapport with me at all, I'm a piece of meat. I'm just a body to bring into your mousetrap. Sorry. Yes, I'm looking for opportunity, but not with you. You got to correct these things. If you're presenting in a way that doesn't duplicate, you have to correct these things. If you are following up or not following up at all, expecting people to do it on their own, you have to correct that little behavior. See, whether it's activity-based or it is emotional-based, when I was growing up, when I first got started in network marketing, I didn't realize that I had these viruses in my brain. If you look at your brain like a computer, a bunch of ones and zeros making decisions, I had this virus in my brain. One virus was the blame virus. I was a professional blamer. Nothing was ever my fault. I never took responsibility for anything. It was my company. It was the upline didn't support me right. My downline didn't sell anything. A bunch of lazy bums. They say the product sells itself. That wasn't true. Come on, where's the training? So I had to switch that. It was just a 1 to a 0, blame to responsibility. That was all it was. When faced with an obstacle, blame, responsibility. Just one little switch. Blip. Then I pushed print, and guess what? My life changed. From that one simple little thing. I had another virus in my head that said, I want you to pay me first, and then I'll have a better attitude. That was another virus. Does life work that way? No. You have to have a better attitude, and you have to work harder for a while before you get paid more. So I had to switch that little flip that says, be nicer to me, and then I'll work harder. To, I'll work harder, and then everybody will be nicer to me. The world will be nicer to me. Another little virus I had was I'd rather get away with something than earn it. I'm just being honest with you. I'd rather have a shortcut than the straight road, right? I'd rather take the easy path than the real path. I'd rather hope to get some monster into my organization than just go to the work with the people that I had right now and help open some doors to the people that could change my whole business and change their lives. So all I said was, okay, I'd rather earn it than be lucky. It used to be I'd rather be lucky than good. I just said, no. I walk away from that concept. I reject that concept. I'd rather be good than be lucky. Remember, he talked about the 2 bags. One had $1 million in it. The other had the skills to go get $1 million. Which bag do you want? The skills. I decided for the early part of my career, I'd rather be lucky than good. I'll take it. But you always have to be lucky. So I want to share something with you that really worked well for me over the course of my career that will help you take these little errors, simple little things that every one of us in this room has. Maybe you have an error that leads you to procrastinate instead of take action. Maybe you have an error that leads you to negative thinking versus positive thinking when faced with obstacles. Maybe you have an error that causes you not to make a decision to really go change your life. I don't know what it is for you, but I know every one of you has it. If you're not living all of your dreams, all of us have it. I have it. Everybody has it. Every speaker you have on the stage is going to have something in this form, right? So I've learned, and this is from a number of different sources, just a basic flow of life. Sorry, that's not right. The programming in your mind changes the reality of your life. Now, if you're going to program a computer, what are you going to do? You're going to put input into that computer. You're going to write code into that computer to create programming, correct? What creates your programming? What are some of the things that create your programming? Sorry? Beliefs, but where do the beliefs come from? Parents, education, your job, TV, religion, friends, sex, I suppose. Do I have to write it? Thank you. I'm sorry? Family? Yeah, parents, family, extended family. Media. It's your whole life experience. Everything that's ever happened to you. Anytime somebody punched you in the playground and knocked you down and took away your school lunch. Every time you got picked on, every time you had a success, every time you had a failure, creates this blueprint in your mind. It creates this programming in your mind. And when faced with a similar obstacle at some point in the future, it automates a response. When you get upset, you're getting upset because something in your programming told you you're supposed to be upset. Because other people faced with the same exact situation don't get upset at all. Because their programming said this is no problem. If you grow up in a blue-collar household, will that affect your programming? If you grow up in an entrepreneurial household, it'll affect it one way or the other. Now, there's some people that says, I'll never be an entrepreneur growing up in an entrepreneurial family. And other people say, of course you have to be an entrepreneur growing up in an entrepreneurial family. You don't know which way it's going to go. Same parents, same situation. There's a lot of dynamics that come into play, but your programming creates your thinking, right? And what I'm saying about your thinking is what is important to you. Programming creates your thinking. Okay? That creates your thinking. Your thoughts. When faced with something, your programming tells you, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Should I take action? Should I ignore it? Right? So thoughts, your thinking leads to your attitude. How you feel. How do you feel about a certain thing? You heard in that video yesterday with Simon Sinek, how do you feel? Your attitude leads to your activity. What you do. You'll do what you feel good about. Your activity leads to your results. And your results lead to your lifestyle. So your programming leads to your thoughts. Your thoughts lead to your feelings. Your feelings lead to your actions. Your actions lead to your results. Your results lead to how you live. Good or bad. Does that make sense? Now, I want to share something with you in this simple little diagram that changed my life, and it can change your life. And I will tell you, I've talked about this particular issue for many years. And it really helped change my life, originally from Jim Rohn. This basic philosophy helped change my life. But there are some distinctions that I have realized just in the last 12 months that have changed me dramatically. So if you've seen this before, there's something that you really need to kind of absorb differently. If you were going to, have you ever heard the little story, I'll go to work for you for a penny a day, double it every day for 30 days? Have you ever heard that one? Turns into $10 million. So if you put that into a little Excel spreadsheet, penny a day, double it every day, compound growth, and you create a chart, it looks something like this. That's what it'll look like if you create a chart. Okay? Can't really see it. Penny to 2 pennies is not very much. 4 pennies is not very much. 8 pennies is not very much. 16 pennies is not very much. How does it get to $10 million? Well, it starts adding up. Starts multiplying in a big hurry. But let me show you what the pathway to failure looks like. don't do those pennies a day, and it doesn't seem to matter, doesn't seem to matter, doesn't seem to matter, doesn't seem to matter, all of a sudden it matters. Don't engage in those simple little disciplines every day. Do those same errors, keep pushing print, keep pushing print, keep pushing print. Blame everybody else. And the difference between you and somebody else doesn't really matter right now. But what happens is it starts to matter at some point. It starts to matter in a pretty big way. This is where we start seeing it. If you draw a line and you start here, activity, 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 and it takes off, or the other way, and it goes down. Now, how do you know if somebody's on a successful path and somebody's on a failure path? There's some clues. Up here is some simple disciplines, some simple actions, some simple habits, some simple things that they're doing consistently in their business. They're focused on the 7 skills. They're staying active. They're doing the things necessary. And down here are some basic, simple errors. One person does a presentation today, another person doesn't do a presentation today. It's as simple as that. One person makes a phone call to a prospect today, the other person doesn't make a phone call to a prospect today. It's as simple as that. That's the 1 or the 0. That's that little error. And if you don't make a call today, it's easy to repeat not making another call tomorrow because it didn't seem to matter that much. And you can't tell the difference because the other person didn't get anybody into their business either. So, okay, you got to slack off. They had to face their fears. Sounds fun. But what I need you to understand is as you learn what you're going to learn over the course of this weekend, as you learn it, you're going to be engaged in simple little actions. Little action, little action, little action, little action, little action, little action, little action. And the one thing that nobody tells you about network marketing is it's largely a lonely business. You're doing this by yourself when you're growing your business most of the time. You'll get together once a week for a meeting. You'll get together, you'll talk to somebody on the phone, but then you hang up the phone and it's just you again. Making that call, setting up that little home meeting, setting up that breakfast, setting up that cup of coffee, setting up that presentation, following up with somebody. People aren't answering the phone. They're not calling you back. They didn't show up for the thing. Keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it because you believe in what you're doing. It's so easy to just say, you know what, today I need some me time today. I'm going to throttle it back a little bit today. So easy to say that. And at the same time, somebody else in your business is just little error, little error, little error. You're going to the weekly meeting, even if you don't have a guest. They're not going to the weekly meeting. You're going to the convention, even if you have to stretch to make it there. They're not going to the convention. They say, bring me the notes. You're using the product every day. They're not using the product every day. They use it here and there. See what I mean? Just this little tiny difference in activity. So here's the big distinction that I want to talk to you about. I've trained for many years that you have to go back and fix your programming before you can have success because your programming is going to lead to your actions. And your actions are going to lead to your attitude. And then you're going to do what you feel like doing over a long enough period of time. Okay? And then that activity will create a result. That result will create a lifestyle. And my biggest distinction to you is it's not linear. In real life, it's not linear. If I was to try and show you what this really looks like, this is like a tree. This is the ground. These are the roots. See what I'm saying? These are the branches. This is the fruit on the tree. So if you want to grow a tree, what do you need to do? What's the step 1? Plant. Plant. So guess what? In order to be able to grow these roots, you need to plant. And I really, really thought about what changed my life. And it wasn't the programming first. It was the activity first. I had a desire, I wanted to change my life, and I decided to do the uncomfortable thing. And I did the activity I planted the seed, and I did the activity long enough that eventually my attitude changed about my activity. Eventually, what was fearful became fearless. And that change in attitude eventually started to change my thinking about the activity because it wasn't as fearful anymore. And that thinking eventually started to change my programming, so I started to become a different person. See what I mean? So a lot of people think, well, I can see why I'm not successful. I have to go back and study for like 2 years. I have to go listen to tapes for 8 hours a day, subliminally while I'm sleeping at night. I have to have 8 books on my nightstand. I have to go to every seminar. I have to soak in every bit of information. And eventually, that information will start to change my thoughts. And those thoughts will start to change my attitudes. And partly that's true. But mostly, for the top leaders here, sitting up in the VIP section, I'll bet you if I interviewed you all, what started to change things was an activity first. And that activity started to grow roots down into the ground that became more and more solid, more and more stable, more and more concrete, more and more unshakable. And while you were doing that, yes, you're feeding your mind. Yes, you're feeding your mind with positive and you're protecting your mind from negative. Yes, you're doing all those things. That's called nurturing and watering the plants that you are planting. Those roots that you are growing. You're nurturing, you're giving it nutrients by being reminded. Go read The Magic of Thinking Big. And you go, yes, okay, yes, reminding me to do what? To take action. To take action. Let me show you something. This simple little diagram helped me so much. I can't describe to you how much, really. Name me a negative emotion. Give me a negative emotion. Fear. Rejection. Anxiety. And rejection isn't really an emotion that creates an emotion. Anger. Envy. Disagreement. That's not really emotion. Blame. Sadness, frustration, being overwhelmed, guilt, laziness. That's not really emotion. What? Sorry? Despair. Doubt. All right, I'm getting depressed writing this list, so can we stop? Pretty good idea what that is, right? Again, if we're looking here, what are those feelings? How do those feelings affect your life? They affect them as much as you decide to allow them to affect your life. I'm going to give you the antidote to all of those things. Activity. Now I'm going to show you something that will help you dramatically as you're going out and building your business. I always look for these little distinctions, tiny little things, little triggers that allow me to take control of my life. How many people would like to be in total control of your emotions? Yeah? How many wouldn't like to be in total control of your emotions? Work with me. So let's say you're feeling this. You're feeling these emotions. What that tells me, if you're feeling any of them, is activity is gone. That's what it tells me. Activity is gone. Even if you just got off a call and it was a terrible call and it was an awful call, right? If you don't make the next call and you go into these emotions, that tells me your activity stopped. So here's the thing. The moment that you start to increase activity, these emotions start to fade. The more you increase activity and go into full activity, these emotions go away. In your business, they go away. And now you're in activity again. Those emotions are gone. You don't have time to feel sorry for yourself. You're moving, you're getting stuff going on. And then something happens, and this starts to creep in. And as soon as it starts to creep in, what does that tell me? Activity's starting to drop. And here they come. You look at somebody who's walking across the stage, bigger, more successful than you, and they started after you did. Doesn't that suck? I hate that so much. But you're watching all that stuff, and your activity drops, and you didn't even realize your activity drops. You're just feeling bad for yourself. The moment you start feeling any of these things, you should go, oh, my activity must be down. Make a call. Do a meeting. Follow up. Get in the car and go talk to somebody. Take action. Move. And if you stay in action long enough, activity long enough, it'll create a habit. And the best in the world, I know, when faced with these obstacles, at the beginning, faced with these obstacles, it might, you're faced with some big disappointment. Somebody in your group quits, or something blows up, or something bad happens. Or let's say a company just blows up and goes out of business. What does that create when something like that happens? God forbid. It creates all of these emotions. It might cause you not to want to take action on the greatest profession on earth because somebody let you down. I get it. It might take you a little while to gather strength. Here's what I know about anybody that's ever been involved in network marketing. They're going to be involved again. For sure. It might take 5 years for them to get over this and dream again. It might take 2 years. It might take 6 months. It might take 30 days. It might take a week. I don't know what it's going to take, but they're going to do it. So if you ever talk to somebody who says, I've been there before, I had my heart broken, never, ever, ever again, don't ever buy their story because it's not true. They're going to be walking across somebody's stage. It might as well be yours. Don't let that be real. I'm just telling you. I love talking to somebody that used to be and says they're burned out. They're coming in. So it might be 5 years, it might be 5 months, it might be 5 weeks, it might be 5 days. The best leaders in the world, the best that I know, the ones that I'm looking at right here, as soon as they feel a hint of this, they go, whoop, back to activity. They feel just a little whisper, pop, back to activity. Little discouragement, bam. Something happens in their company, pop. They go right back to action. And see, the activities here will start to grow and will start to affect attitude, start to affect thinking, eventually affecting programming on a very, very deep level. And at the same time, you're feeding your mind with positive, and you're protecting your mind from negative, and you're growing it from the bottom up. So it's both sides. It's from the bottom up, yes, feeding your mind at like a function like this, but it's also a function like this is not going to create success for you, is it? What creates success for you after you leave here? Action. You do the action long enough, it's going to create a what? A habit. And you are going to be a slave to your habits. You ever read Og Mandino's Greatest Salesman in the World? I will find great habits or whatever it is, and I will make them I'll become their slave. I'll be a slave to great habits because you're going to be a product of your habits one way or the other. They're either going to be good or they're going to be bad. Again, it's a 1 or a 0. I'm a procrastination habit or I'm a take action person. It's just a decision. Has nothing to do with your DNA. 0. It's just a decision. I'm going to go pro or I'm going to hope to get lucky. Just a decision. That's a habit. I'm going to constantly be learning or I'm going to think that I know it all. That's just a habit. The successful people, they're always learning, they're always growing, they're always becoming more. So as you look at this, just understand, I want you to understand a couple things. As you start the activity, for a while, it doesn't seem like it matters. Have anybody ever planted a little plant in the ground? Anybody? At the beginning, you plant the plant and then you go, okay, you're ready to see the plant. Does the plant sprout up right away? Why not? Is something happening? Yes, you just can't see it. Is change, a metamorphosis, a miracle happening under the soil? A true miracle? Is life being created? Yes, you just can't see it. So if you do the action and you water the plant and you take care of these little tiny things when they don't seem to matter, then all of a sudden you see something come out of the ground, a tiny little thing come out of the ground. And you go, oh, I guess it was worth it. What causes you to continue to plant when you don't see anything? What causes you to continue to water that ground when you don't see anything? Faith. Faith. Taking action and having faith that that action is going to create a result. Same thing's true in your business. Some of you have started without any root system underneath you at all. None. No entrepreneurial background, no sales, no, relationship building, nothing. Very low raw materials. It might take a little longer for that plant to finally pop itself out. And it's frustrating when you see somebody else planted on the same day and their plant comes a little bit quicker because they already have a little bit of a root system as a person. It's okay. You can still grow to the same height. It's just not going to pop out of the ground quite as fast. See what I mean? So you have to have faith, and you have to just say, you know what? I'm going to continue to plant. I'm going to continue to water. I'm going to continue to nurture. I'm going to continue to give this sunlight, and I'm going to have faith that it's going to pop out. And when it pops out, then people start to get excited. Have you ever noticed a person, they're involved in your business, they're using your product, they're talking to people, they don't get any results. Nobody's joining. Nothing. And they're in, and they're okay, but then they get that first person in their business. Now they have a team, and they light up a little bit. They start to become a little bit more hopeful. The faith starts to turn to hope. Oh, I have a group now. Me and one more person. I've just grown 100%. Awesome. And then that hope starts to turn into belief as the 1 turns into 4, turns into 10. But they change as a person as the faith turns into belief. You know what I'm saying? Here's how it goes. It's faith here. It's hope here. It's belief here. Why do some people grow faster than others? Their belief is back here. They start with a bigger belief. Everybody else is kind of crossing their fingers, watching really closely, a little bit skeptical. They start with belief. They start day 1 with belief, or earlier with belief. And because of that belief, that's like the fertilizer that shoots that plant up much faster. So, as you're going through these activities, it's important to know that while you're planting, it's not going to look like much for a while. While other people are not planting, it's going to look the same. You have 2 pieces of ground. Beautiful ground. Amazing ground. The best ground in the world to grow something. One person plants, the other person doesn't. Now let's look at the ground tomorrow. Can we see any difference? Now, one sat at home and watched TV. The other one was out there doing presentations. Still don't see any difference. One was engaging in simple errors, and the other was engaging in some simple disciplines. You don't see any difference. But then, just like when the chart goes this way, when the plant comes out, this person starts to blame, right? It says, well, nobody gave me the right stuff, and nobody told me that I had to put the seed in the ground. Blame, 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 blame. The number one characteristic of people on this path is blame. The number one characteristic of people on this path is responsibility. And here's a promise I will have for you. At the beginning, as you're building your business, and I know this is a messy chart, this activity at the beginning is going to be uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable facing your fears every single day. It's uncomfortable talking to people about a business model that they were never taught their entire life. It's uncomfortable people looking at you funny. It's uncomfortable being uncommon, unplugging from the matrix when everybody else is stuck in the matrix. It's uncomfortable to be going against the traffic. A 4-lane highway going this way and you're trying to go that way and everybody's honking their horn at you and everybody's shaking their fist at you. They don't realize they're all going the wrong way. Right? And not all of them are going the wrong way, but most of them. There needs to be one lane for people that are going to take care of us with other functions in life, right? So it's going to be uncomfortable for a season. And guess what? Not doing these disciplines, yeah, you come to the meeting sometimes, you use the product sometimes, you talk to people here and there. You know, if it's convenient, you go to the company convention. That's pretty comfortable. You're hoping to get lucky. Down here, you're committed to becoming good up here. Right? It's pretty comfortable, kind of hanging out, don't see any difference. Why are you working? You're killing yourself doing meetings 5 nights a week. Are you nuts? But it'll switch, and this will become comfortable, and this will become uncomfortable. You know why it's hard to stay up here? Out of every 20 people, there's one up here and there's 19 down here. Even in your business, even in your group, you're still uncommon. Inside of your team, you're uncommon. How many people in your group should be here and there aren't? Why aren't they here? We don't know. It's a mystery. But when it becomes uncomfortable, what are they going to do? They're going to reach out to the other 19 and say, it's not our fault, is it? And the other 19 is going to say, no, of course not, it's your fault, poor thing. It's terrible that they should expect that of you. Network marketing, come on. Blame, 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 criticize, criticize, criticize. Look around, gather up. We're going on strike. Well, you've been on strike since you signed up. Come on. And up here it gets comfortable. And you know what I know a lot of you are hoping for? You're hoping for people to finally admit that you were right. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I just want you to embrace this fact. At the beginning, they're going to call you crazy. After you're successful, they're going to call you lucky. That's it. There isn't a third. That's just the way it is, I'm telling you. Occasionally, a few people will finally come over, leave the dark side, come over to the light side, and they will say, man, I don't know what I was thinking. I was surrounded by those other 19 people. They held me hostage. They held me down. They wouldn't let me get into the business. It was awful. So the last thing I want to tell you as I close up this morning is one more little thing about attitude, how you feel. It's important. And there's one thing that I really want you to consider. How you feel about network marketing, how you feel about your company, how you feel about each other, how you feel about your downline, how you feel about your peers in the profession. But the biggest one that I want you to really consider as we start today is how you feel about yourself. And I want to do something for you or encourage you to do something for yourself. I want to give you radical permission to forgive yourself unconditionally for mistakes that you've made in the past. Radical permission to just say, you know what? I haven't done everything right. You can look at this weekend and go, oh my gosh, and you look back at the past and say, I can't believe how many prospects I provided a disservice to, and my organization I had to rebuild so many times, and all these different things because I made all these mistakes, I made all these errors. I want you to give yourself radical permission to forgive yourself for any past mistakes, any errors in judgment, any bad habits, and just say, I'm going to learn from what happened to me up until this point in my life, and I'm going to invest it into a plan to be able to make 2014 my best year ever, not just best year when it comes to income, not just best year when it comes to growth, but best year ever when it comes to contribution, when it comes to legacy, when it comes to impact on other people's lives, when it comes to bringing joy and love to the world, connecting like-minded people. It's great work that we do. It's uncommon work that we do. And we are sometimes our own worst critics. We beat ourselves to death with every mistake that we make. And you don't need to own that ever again. You don't need to apologize to the world or to yourself ever again. Just forgive yourself and create a new plan and develop some new habits. Plant some seeds. And more than anything, use what you learned this weekend to create an action plan that will change your life and thousands of others. All right, enjoy the rest of your morning. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.